Hey everybody, Brian from Bearable Traders here. It is the weekend, September 6th, and this of course is the weekend video. We'll take a look at what happened last week in the markets. It was a shortened trading week. And then we'll take a look ahead and see what we got coming down the pipe this week. We've got some inflation data, so that should be interesting. Let's get down to it. And starting out with a quick review of what happened last week, shortened trading week. Markets ended up a little bit this week on employment data that showed continued slowing in hiring. I think we got like about a 22,000 new jobs versus 75 expected. So definitely a trend to weakness in the overall labor market continuing. So data pretty much sealed the deal for the September rate cut, regardless of what the inflation data is going to come out next week or this coming week. Certainly we saw the yields fall on the news, causing, of course, bond prices to rise accordingly. Yields and bond prices move in opposite directions. So you can see how we finished out the week. The Dow down slightly. The Q's up quite a bit. The technology sector benefiting from the Google news, Alphabet news, where the antitrust remedies weren't as severe as people had feared. And also we had some real positive news on Broadcom working with OpenAI possibly to do a AI chip with them. So technology benefiting from that. The SPY up a little bit, and IWM, of course, up on the strength of the lower yields. Comm services and materials were up the biggest this week. Utilities and energy. Energy was the biggest winner last week, loser this week. Utilities seem to be losing a little ground as well. Their 2-year and 10-year treasuries down pretty significantly there on the weak labor news. And you can see the US dollar finished pretty flat on the week, and Bitcoin still just hanging around that sort of 110 range, and that's where it sits right now. So that was the week in review. And now we'll pause for a quick plug for my books that are available on Amazon. Links in the description below. You can see How to Swing Trade and Profiting as an Active Trader, both swing trade and position trade books, and How to Trade Options, my latest publication there. Pretty much an A to Z on how to trade options, from what they are to some of the strategies that I use in risk management. So you can check those out. Again, links in the description below. Okay, so let's take a quick run through our indexes. You can see here the 2-year really rolling over as labor market conditions really continue to show weakness, and the chance of a Fed rate cut is definitely almost 100% for sure, and some are even betting that we're going to get maybe even a half-point rate cut in September. So rate cuts are really driving these 2-year and 10-year Treasury yields lower, which are driving the bond prices higher. Remember, they always work in opposite directions. The Dow, again, we're just seem to be banging our heads here on the all-time high. Weekly, we are showing a little bit of signs of sort of topping here. Not expecting a huge pullback, but you never know. I mean, there could be some events that are catalysts for a big pullback, but it seems like we're just sort of hanging around here. September, not a great month for stocks, as probably a lot of people have already mentioned. But anyway, Qs, again, same thing. We seem to be just sort of hanging around all-time highs here. It's definitely some support there, and of course Q's got benefit of the Alphabet news and Broadcom news, which both did very well this week. You can see here the SPY tried to make a new high, couldn't do it, pulled back on Friday, and again made an all-time high this week, but couldn't hold it. We are still, I think that is an all-time high still on the SPY close. Close was for 647.24. And what was the close here? 645. So not quite an all-time high close, but again, really close to it. IWM, again, tried to break out a little bit of a indecision candle on Friday as the traders tried to wrestle with whether bad news with the labor market was good news, or if the bad news was bad news. So you can see here we're coming right up into an area of resistance here around 240 on the IWM as well. So probably some market stalling there. As far as the VIX goes, again, still really no fear in the market of any kind of sell-off. And you can see here we're still stuck in a range with the dollar. Yeah, on the week, still stuck in a range. And Bitcoin trading around 110, 200. So again, we're just sort of some topping action right here, a little bit of a pullback to an area where there was prior support. And we may just, again, we're pretty range bound here for the time being. And that was your week and the indexes in review. Okay, so let's go over some of the active swing trades I've got on. Still holding this FMS. This is the Canadian graphite company. I think they're going to be going into production next year or the year after. But graphite and graphene seem to be a hot commodity right now. So playing that hot sector mania that I talk about in my swing trade books. You can see here, I'm still holding gold. I mean, gold has just been an incredible performer. This has been one of my really good swing trades this year so far. Still holding some gold stocks. I don't hold GDX exactly, but holding some other junior mining stocks, gold, but it's a good representation. LABU really had a nice move. I was holding on to a little bit of it. We had a nice move up, sold some, still holding a bit, but now we've got this move through 80, sold a little bit more because that was one of my targets, $80, but we're just continuing to move here. So I'm still holding a little bit of that position left on LABU, looking great. Silver, same comment as gold. It hasn't had quite the same run, but still holding some silver stocks and still holding a little bit of the small cap, the TNA stock. It broke out on Friday, and still have a little position left on that. Mentioned this in my video last week. I kind of thought that UNH had some good potential to start to move back up here. It looks like, so I'm long a little bit, looking for 320, 325-ish, possible first target, but it definitely holding the 300 here. So looking pretty good on UNH. So that's some of the actives that I've got going now. Okay, for some swing trades for next week. As I said, September's not a great month for stocks, so it's one of the worst performing months. So I'm going to go taking a look at a few things here, but I'm not as constructive on as being bullish through this month. But AMD kind of looks interesting. Had this big sell-off on Friday on that Broadcom news, working with OpenAI. So you can see here we've pulled back into an area where I think there will be some support somewhere around this sort of 150 area. 149.34 was the bottom on this doji candle. And so we kind of broke out from this area. So I'm thinking maybe this is potential area to get back long on AMD. Although we have to be careful because it does look like a bit of a head and shoulders pattern here. Definitely a double top. So tight stop on that. Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce quite exposed to real estate and mortgage in Canada. Canadian economy is kind of rolling over a bit, so might be a good short back to this area where it broke out from around $75. So I'm looking at that one. NVIDIA, same comment as AMD. Looks like it's pulled back into a area where there should be some support here. So this low on Friday, 164, could be an area where you'd have a stop and then maybe look at a long. But again, September is never a great month to be investing in these. So go light if you do. Tesla is interesting. I mean, I mentioned last week sort of in an area between 325 and 350 trading. It tried to get above here, couldn't do it. It rejected almost exactly. High was 355.39. The high here was 355.87. Just broke out a little bit higher than this candle and then pulled back. So I guess this was on news that Elon's going to get a $1 trillion pay package. So, or at least put him to $1 trillion. I'm not sure if he, I guess everybody saw that it was good news, but I'd watch for a breakout, possible breakout through that 355 area and see if it holds. Then we could be good up to 360 and then even back at this 365 area. Otherwise, we may pull back and reclaim that gap. And there's UNH, like this for a long. I am long already. Again, potential to resell 300 puts or even go up now 305s, and looks like it's continuing to move up nicely here, and I think 325 is going to be resistance. So that's it for what I've got for active potential trades for next week. All right, so wrapping things up for the week of September the 8th, there's your levels on the Dow, Q, SPY, IWM with support and resistance levels. Economic events, the big ones will be Wednesday PPI data before the market opens, and of course CPI data on Thursday. Give us a read on how the fight on inflation is going. And then as far as earnings go, pretty light calendar here. We've got Oracle after the close and Chewy in the morning on Wednesday, Adobe after the close on Thursday, so pretty light, but we are well through earnings season now. And as far as sort of high level view, my assessment here, markets still near or at all-time highs, don't really see any change in that. The September is not usually a good good month for market returns. Usually is one of the poorer performing months, so I'm not expecting a lot of big moves here in terms of overall market. Technology had a pretty good week, but we're still trading in a range, and I believe rotation is still going to continue into small caps, particularly if rates continue to fall here as the labor market weakens. Obviously, dip buyers, I think, are still out there supporting the markets. And as already mentioned, PPI and CPI data is going to be the main economic reports that are going to be coming out this week, showing us where inflation is headed. Certainly a cool number will be a positive for the market. So that's it, everyone. Hope you're having a great weekend. And we'll catch you hopefully in the room on Monday morning, starting at 8 a.m. pre-market show, both live on YouTube and in the trading room. So hopefully see you there. Take care, everyone. Bye.